Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg, and welcome back to Hanging with Mangg. I'm recording this on Saturday night rather than doing it live on Sunday since it's a religious holiday and there are events occurring. So yeah, just figured it would be better to do it this way. We're playing some Far Cry 5. I am working my way through the LP. I'm certainly I certainly have a lot recorded ahead of what I've uploaded, but that ain't no big deal. We just keep on rolling. So yeah, this week on this channel we had Far Cry 5, we had Final Fantasy 7, we had Roll Manggy, and there was something else that I tried to do. I actually tried to do it twice, and I failed both times. And that was purely because of audio levels. So recently I picked up SWAT 4 on GOG. $10. You get the base game and the expansion. Fantastic deal. I recommend it to anybody. And I don't know what I was looking at or what I was doing. Somebody mentioned SWAT 4, who knows what. And I was like, I watched Spoony play that years ago. It was like one of the, it was like one of the first things I saw from Spoony. It's still one of my favorite Let's Plays. But I never played the game myself, because I thought it looked frustrating. But I figured, hey, I'll give it a chance. And there's a mod for it called Elite Force, which is like the mod. Like, after you play Elite Force, you'd be hard pressed to go back to not without it. I think they even have like a Patreon for it now and stuff. Like, it's some legit stuff. Like, it's still being, like, they're still pumping out patches for it and new features and things like that. It's really nice. Fixes a lot of issues, adds a lot of fun aspects to the game. Anyways, so at first I was just playing through the game, right? So I was just, I just played through like a dozen missions or so. And was just having a good time, just on my own playing through the game. And so, yeah, I got like 10 or so missions in. And I was like, you know, this is a... Damn it. This is a game that I want to show off. Sometimes that happens. And usually, in situations like that, I'll just do like one video on it. To just sort of explain the game and talk about how much I like it and why I like it and show it off and blah, blah, blah. But for this, it was like, I want to do a Let's Play of this game. And so I just started over. I started a new career, and I just did a Let's Play. And I did like 2/3 of a Let's Play of that game. And I was like 2/3 of the way through, and I finally was like, oh, you know what? I should probably like check the footage to see if it sounds good. And of course, it sounded terrible. The game audio was way too loud. Completely unacceptable. I didn't even want to upload it, and so I won't. And so I was like, well, that's a bummer. Of course, a proper professional Let's Player might have checked the audio levels before recording the first video, but alright. So I was like, well, I don't want to just start the LP over. That's a lot of work. So I'll just do one video. You know, I'll just do what I would normally do. I'll just do one video of the game, just the first few missions or so. I'll talk about the game and, you know, show it off. I did that. I recorded that. Once again, the game audio was too loud. And yes, I lowered it. I definitely lowered it. And it was still way too loud. It's insane. It's like the loudest game I've ever played. And so at that point, I was just like, screw it. And so I finished just playing through the game, all the missions on my own. And so I beat it. And really enjoyable stuff. Great game. And I'm still kind of itching to play a little bit more, so I might actually just do another LP. Just start from scratch and go through again, because it's a really fun game. And they just released, like, version 7 of the Elite Force mod, and that adds some cool things, and so why not? I don't know when I'll upload that is the problem. Because you don't want to get to a point. Whoops. I don't want to flood the channel with videos, because I know that's a bad idea. But I also don't want to... I don't know if I want to have 3 LPs going at the same time. I don't know if I want to take a break from Final Fantasy, just for that. But I also don't know if there's going to be any time between when I finish uploading Far Cry 5 and when God of War comes out. Like April 20th, or something like that. I really have no idea. Like, it might just sit on the hard drive for a while, which is alright, because that's the case for, like, a dozen LPs at this point. For when I finish God of War, if there's nothing else to play, I can just, hey, here's Squad 4. That might be the case.
Moving in and out of the Drubbin Marina. That must be how they're moving their drugs around the county. That should be our next target.
But yeah, I mean, it was... fun game, and I'd like to show it off. You know, it was a fun game when Spoony played it all those years ago, and now with the mods and stuff, it's even better. Yeah, so that's that. Yeah, on the Exploring series on the other channel, I uploaded the Jotnar video, which I hated. One of those videos that I just don't even want to look at it. I don't want to even think that it exists, because I'm just so unhappy with it. And people seem to like it fine. They're like, hey, amazing as always. And it's like, I know you gotta be your own harshest critic, and I certainly am, I think. But, yeah, I could have done without that video, I guess. But if people like it, then people like it. Who am I to say otherwise? You know, I can't be like, oh, you're wrong. This was not amazing as always. This sucked. No, if they say so, let them say so. And then this week I worked on the Children of Loki, which was a video I was happier with. Not incredible, not my best work. Of course, it's a little derivative of other videos I've done, but not as bad as
Our boats are on their way.
So, yeah, I mean, we've only got a couple videos left at this point. Saga of the Volsungs, and finally Ragnarok, which also will be a derivative video, but I think that will be a video that I'll sort of design around newcomers. Like, they won't watch any of the other videos, but they'll watch that one. So, it'll be sort of just a compilation of all the Ragnarok videos. Wow, he blew himself up. And then by the time you see this, it will be tomorrow, so the April Fool's video will be live. So I guess I can talk about that. So, of course, it's Cthulhu Mythos in Teletubbies. I don't want to talk... It wasn't my original plan for April Fool's. My original plan for April Fool's...
Good job clearing out the marina.
I don't want to say, because I might do it next year. But, I thought of the original plan, like, 6 months ago or something like that. I was like, I'm going to do that for April Fool's. That sounds like it'd be funny. And that was the plan for a long time, until shortly after I did the Cthulhu Mythos and Bloodborne video. And then I was like, oh, you know, that was really popular. I wonder if I could make like a joke video like that. You know, Cthulhu Mythos in blank. And so then I just thought, I was like, okay, what's like the most... What is the most non-Cthulhu Mythos thing that I can think of?
Man, this is
That was really what my thought was. And so I almost immediately thought of Teletubbies. And then I was like, okay, Teletubbies. Go. You know, like, what connections can I make from Teletubbies to the Cthulhu Mythos? And it turned out a lot better than I guess I would have imagined. Because when I first thought of it, I was like, I had nothing in my head about Cthulhu Mythos being connected to Teletubbies, because I don't really know anything about the show. Let me correct myself. I didn't know anything about the show. Because I didn't watch it when I was a kid, because I was like 10 or 11 when that show became popular, give or take. So I was way too old for Teletubbies. But of course I was familiar, I had heard of it. And so I knew that there were like Tinky Winky. I think Tinky Winky is gay or something, like that was a controversy, and we're all just like colored different, and I don't even know what I didn't even know what they did. Like, I don't know, it's just a kids show. I don't know. They're weird colors, and actually they're not weird colors. They're regular colors, but they're weird. I didn't know much. I didn't know much about anything. And so yeah, away I went, delving into it. And so, I think one of the first things I thought of was like, okay, I can correlate their colors to like the colors of like great old ones and stuff. 'Cause that's easy. I was like, because there was like, okay, Dipsy's green, Cthulhu's green, right? So that works. And then Lala is yellow, and it's like, it's fucking insane. I know this now, but yes, Lala is yellow. So, you know, King in yellow. All right, boom, easy. And then I was like, Poe. Poe is red. And in Cthulhu Wars, the board game, you know, they have different colors for different great old ones and stuff. So Cthulhu is green, Hastur's yellow, of course. Shub-Niggurath is yellow in that game, which is it's completely arbitrary. And Nyarlathotep is blue, which is again arbitrary. So I was like, I can't say Shub-Niggurath, it just doesn't make sense. So I was like, the only thing that's really red that I could think of, and it, you know, I sort of went with August Derleth's classifications of sort of elemental alignments for the Great Old Ones and stuff, and so really the only one that's aligned with fire is Cthulhu, who is literally just like a big ball of fire. And I was like, all right, it's obscure, it's definitely a bit of a cop-out, but it's a joke, you know, the whole thing's a joke, so all right, whatever. So, all right, Poe is with Cthulhu for the fire. And I was like, Tinky Winky is purple. There's really nothing that I could think of that is purple. And really, I couldn't think of anything. And so I was like, all right, you know, I'll just say Tinky Winky, of course, needs no explanation. And I was like, and I figure people will be like, oh, he didn't know what the fuck to put. But some people will be like, wait, what? Needs no, what? Am I missing something? It's like, I'm hoping some people will be like, oh, it's really obvious. What am I missing? But we'll see. And so then I was like, okay, I'll do the same thing, but with like their names. Because I was like, okay, well, La is kind of like, you know, Ia Ia, like the sort of chant that's featured a few times in some Lovecraft stories. You know, like Ia Ia Cthulhu Fatan. So like, okay, La, it's sort of similar. All right, and then for some reason I thought Poe was the name. It was part of the name of like a region in the plateau of Leng. I don't know why I thought this. And so I was like, when I got to writing the script and I got to that part, I was like, what am I, how did I get this wrong? What am I thinking of? So I think what I was thinking of was Akavir in the Elder Scrolls. I think one of the races is like Tang Po. And so I must have got that wire crisscrossed in my brain. And so then I got to that part in the script and I was like, wait a minute, if that's not Cthulhu mythos, I have nothing for Poe. And then I was like, well, wait a minute, what the fuck do I have for Dipsy? I have nothing for either of those. And again, I knew I didn't have anything for Tinky Winky. I knew that ahead of time. And so the original plan was I was just gonna say, again, Tinky Winky needs no explanation to keep that gag going. But since I didn't have anything for Poe or Dipsy, I was like, alright, this is, all I had was La, and that was a pretty shitty one, so alright, scrap that. And so then, it was like a month ago or so, I think I hadn't started working on the script at all, but there was just a random post on Reddit that brought up the Teletubbies, and how the filming location for Teletubbies at the time like was so secretive that any visitors that wanted to go there had to be blindfolded. And so I read that and I was like, holy shit, that could not be more perfect. Just a perfect capstone to the whole video. When I talk about all these, like, you know, odd connections to the Cthulhu mythos. And it's all bullshit, of course, you know, it's obviously bullshit. But I get to have this nice little fact at the end that's like, yeah, for some reason they blindfolded visitors. And they have all these, like, you know, they didn't want, because it's like they were filming on this farm in some small part of England. And, like, some other show had been filmed there, and, like, fans had just, like, stomped all over the place and trashed it and stuff. And so they didn't want a repeat of that. And so they were like, no, we won't, we'll lock it down. We won't have any of that shenanigans and shit. And so that's why.
I was always skeptical
and then, of course, they did, like, the farmer that owned the land, he just, like, flattened it out and put a pond over it, but
now they're making angels out of it.
Just because, well, you know, that's what people do, I guess. I guess partly because he didn't want people coming in later to find it and stomp around, so, but it's just, it was a nice little tidbit thing that I could throw in there to to add just that extra little cherry on top. So yeah, of course I did have to watch multiple episodes of Teletubbies. Yeah, I gotta say, as far as just like viewing material, My Little Pony was vastly superior to the Teletubbies. I mean, My Little Pony is obviously a little strange. I mean, well, it's a little childish, but childish, that ain't got shit on Teletubbies. That's just some weird infantile shit. And apparently, like, looking at the Wikipedia page or something, like, somewhere I saw that, like, Teletubbies did have, like, a following in, like, the college-age group because they were all on drugs, or I don't know. It's like bright colors and innocent atmosphere, or I don't know, something like that. So yeah, that was before Bronies. But yeah, you know, I had to watch it if I wanted to do this video. I had to see how things work. And yeah, most of the video is just me sort of like explaining the show, but like putting like a really sinister air to it, and like really just sort of over analyzing it, which is funny to me in a way, and so that's why I did it. There aren't that many connections to the Cthulhu mythos, and I sort of knew I couldn't go that far with it, but yeah, I mean, I hope people enjoy it. The only bummer is it got a copyright claim, of course, when I uploaded it, because it's majorly just filled with footage of the Teletubbies. And I guess I thought, I guess I knew it would get a copyright claim. Because I mean, it's a show. That's what happens. And it's just automated, you know. It's just instantaneously, like as soon as I uploaded it, it gets this copyright claim. And of course, I filed a dispute, because I'm pretty sure, like I'm pretty damn sure this falls under parody or something. Like, there, you do not get like, you do not get the content of an episode of Teletubbies within my video, you know? It is not a substitute for watching an episode of Teletubbies.
You got a chopper coming in.
And you know, I'm talking over it. There's practically no audio of the actual episodes. It's just like tiny little clips, like, you know, 20 seconds long, stringed together. I'm pretty sure it falls under fair use, so of course I filed a dispute. We'll see. I mean, you know, it's an automated system. I'm sure they deal with this all the time, and I'm hoping that my clout, I guess, as a substantial, somewhat YouTuber, means that they'll, you know, actually care a little bit.
Everyone thought they'd make things better
that's
here.
the idea.
Couldn't imagine it would come to this.
But
Anyway, keep up the
yeah,
good
we'll
work.
see. Now, in the old days, I think, like, if you filed a dispute for a copyright claim, until the dispute was resolved, they would get, the company would get all the ad revenue. But I think now they hold it. Like they build up the ad revenue, and then whoever wins the claim in the end, I think they get the ad revenue. I believe that change happened a few years ago, because people were complaining that, you know, these companies might wait like a year, or like might wait like a month to resolve these copyright claims and be like, oh yeah, I guess it is fair use. But by that point, you know, the video's gone live, it's gotten most of that initial burst, and they've collected all this free money. And at that point, it's like, all right, well, sure, you can have it. So I think they changed that, which would be nice if that is the case, because I worked quite a bit on that video. It would be pretty lame to lose all the ad revenue from it, because that's not like, I'm not like profiting off of their work. I think that's really the thing. You know, I think that system is designed for people just like uploading an episode of the show or something and getting and monetizing it. Like, yeah, all right, clearly that's not right. I get that, but this is not me just uploading an episode of the show. Like, I put plenty of hours of fucking research into the Teletubbies. Give me my money, damn it. Anyways, so yeah, we'll see how it goes. You know, I watched it from beginning to end, which, to be honest, I rarely do, because by the time it's finished, I'm usually just sick of the whole topic. But I watched it from beginning to end. I actually laughed a few times, which, I mean, I'm not saying it's good to laugh at your own jokes. I think I was just laughing at the absurdity of it, really. But yeah, I hope it's good. If not, you know, it's just an April Fool's thing. The My Little Pony video was not, like, great. It just was a factual summary of My Little Pony.
If you're buying, I'm
this
selling.
is like,
Gotta keep an eye out. Hey,
I don't know, a step beyond. Anyways, moving on. Alright, roll manging for the sprawl. So, last time we took out Big Marco.
Man, if being a rational, loving human being makes me a sinner, then goddamn it, I'm going to hell.
We took out Big Marco, we took over his pizzerias, but, well, you know, they were in a bit of shambles, and we were in a bit of shambles, so it wasn't exactly perfect. And, so, you know, of course, my goal was to sort of build up this criminal empire, right? So we take over Big Marco's territory. It's just like, you know, here's a start. And then from there, we'll take over some other gangs, get bigger and bigger and bigger, and take over the city, and so on and so forth. That was the idea. And so I had planned, you know, okay, I'm going to look into all of his business assets. You know, I'm going to have his legit enterprises. I'm going to take over his pizzerias, get them all running, improve them, build more, blah, blah, blah. Then I'll look into his illegal enterprises, his drug dealings, his any other connections he has with other gangs, and so on and so forth. Protection money, all sorts of stuff like that. And so, you know, basically the night goes by because we're all a little beat up. And I was like, okay, you guys go to the other pizzeria. Go to the other pizzeria, you know, make sure that they understand there's been a change in leadership, but we want business as usual. You know, make sure they're on board for all that. Then, in the meantime, I'm going to look through Big Marco's safe and his office and things like that, and see what he controls, what he's got, things of that nature. So I open his safe, I find 28,000 new yen, which was a pretty nice payday. We were happy about that. I find like a voucher for a free cyberware job. Not like, damn it, not like anything goes. There was like a set list of jobs that this voucher was good for. But yeah, apparently someone had like paid for a cyberware job and it was just on like hold. But I don't think it was really realistic, but it was basically a way for us to get some sort of cyberware job done that we didn't have to pay for. I also found some flash drive with some photographs on it of a public official in some compromising positions with a clearly a hooker. And so at the time, of course, the money was the most interesting thing to me because, well, you know, money. It equals possibilities. And the cyberware voucher was also interesting, but it was for one job for one person. So I didn't really know who to give it to or what to do with it. And I think the plan originally was for each of us... Ziggy said it was alright if each of us got like one cyber eye. Like, it would cover that. And so I was like, that's probably the best, but, you know, so on and so forth. And I'm looking through his office, and I'm finding out all his files and stuff like that. Meanwhile, they go to the other pizzeria. And they call up Luigi Pizza Man. Because he apparently knows the gang more than anyone else alive at this point, so... you know, they figured get in contact with him. He'll help us go into the other pizzeria as sort of a middleman between the old crew and the new crew. And so they're talking to him, and then... Or I think they were texting him, and then suddenly he stopped replying. And so they really weren't sure what was going on, but they went to the other pizzeria. I think Thomas heads in. Fuck. Thomas heads in, and he's immediately like ambushed by 3 mutant men who are apparently another gang in the area. They are all mutants for some reason. And so he dispatches them thanks to his trusty auto shotgun. But of course there are a couple cops sitting in a car outside. And so they plan on checking out this situation.
I was trying to find out what the cult is up to with the old brewery. I saw trucks full of flowers going in and barrels of drugs coming
and
out.
So
it's a fucking bliss factory.
Phil decides in order to intervene, he's going to take his vehicle and run over the 2 cops. Which is... What am I doing in Faith's region? Get back here. Which is certainly not the correct answer in that situation, but alright. He attempts to run them over. Oh, that's actually really pretty. And then they, of course, cover most of it up with this. He actually fails to run over them. And so he, like, dings his car, and he just, like, swerves out of the way, and he drives off. Well done. So not only is he incompetent in decision-making, he's also incompetent in carrying out his own decisions. So that was great. All right. So again, I'm not there for any of this. I don't know any of this is going on. But I think like Thomas stows his auto shotgun, like he hides it on his person, and he drops like his regular shotgun that he's also carrying. And then, you know, the cops come in and they ask him like what happened, and I guess basically said that I don't remember what he said. I don't know if he actually said, I don't think he said he killed them, because they would have really wanted to talk to him. He said, you know, something like they went nuts or something like that, and they died and killing each other, or I don't know, something like that. And so he gives them like his comm number, because they'll want to talk to him later. And he leaves, and then Phil, of course, gets away. And so they tell me about all this, and of course, not too pleased with Phil's decisions. But all right. Ow. And I think we like sell off. I think I'm trying to remember. Oh no. Yeah, so he gave the cops his comm number, which means they can almost certainly like track him. And so I was like, okay, you're like a liability now. And so we just like it's already a mistake that you came here, because we were in our pizzeria. It's already a mistake you came here, but now we really have to go somewhere else. So we went and stayed at a hotel for a few days. We did like a time skip. We stayed at the same hotel, but I made Thomas get a different room on a different floor, just in case he got like raided or something in the night. I wasn't involved. And but nothing happened. It was all fine. I was paranoid. And so we went back to the pizzeria. And I'm trying to figure out, like, okay, how do I move this business forward? Because there's, like, the other pizzeria that they went to has now been, like, shot up. And there's, like, a police investigation there. The one that we burnt down is still intact. It could be restored, but there's also a police investigation going on there. The only one that isn't investigated is this one, because when they came to knock around, it was just completely, like, closed up. So I'm like, okay, well, we can get this pizzeria going and, you know, slowly get back on track. But not until, you know, I get my notary license and we can transfer over the deed.
Taking him God knows where.
That's so true.
The Wolf's Den food stores are getting kind of low.
And so I'm like, okay, you know, that's the legal aspect of it. But, you know, I also wanted to get into all the illegal aspects of drug trafficking, prostitution, arms dealing, things like that. And so I'm like, okay, let's start with drug dealing, because Big Marco already had sort of a foothold there. He had 8 dealers in the area, and I was like, all right, where are they getting their supplies? You know, is he supplying them? Are they supplying themselves? What's happening here? So I talked to Greggy G, who is still alive.
Now I know I heard that.
And and he said, you know, sometimes if Big Marco got like a big drug shipment from out of town, he would sell it to the dealers or something like that. But most of the time, the dealers were on their own. And Big Marco, or Greg G, and apparently the others, got their drugs from Chinatown. There's apparently sort of an Asian gang running out of Chinatown that gets a lot of drug shipments, and they supply the local dealers of the Bronx and other whatever. And I was like, okay, we're gonna have to pay a little visit to Chinatown, figure out what's going down. So I think they were in the process of selling off Big Marco's car, because we stole his car at the big drive-by thing. And I just didn't feel comfortable using it, you know? Because it just, I don't know, it seemed like that would be sort of a hot license plate, and we could swap it. I just didn't feel comfortable. We didn't really need another vehicle. I'd rather have the money. So they went to Bill's Chop Shop guy to get it sold. And while they were there, they actually did sell it for $30,000. But Bill took $10,000 personally for his personal money. And he told Thomas, you know, this is between us. Thomas, of course, really wasn't perfectly on board with that, and he's like, all right, you can take it, but I'm going to tell Gug that you took it. And it's like, well, that's not going to end well. So, but they got interrupted in their discussion by me calling them, telling them that they should pay a visit to Chinatown and get some drugs, and, you know, just sort of scope out their operation. You know, how do they do this? How big is the operation? How secure is it? You know, are they just playing fast and loose here? Or do they got things really locked down? Blah, blah, blah. So they are like, okay, and they go to Chinatown, and basically I really was not paying attention at all what went down in Chinatown. From the sound of it, they were sort of fucking things up, and they didn't know what they were doing, which is usually what happens. But during the whole time they were in Chinatown, I was just in deep thought. Because, you know, I had spent most of the session thinking about the legal aspects, the pizzerias, things like that, how to expand and control them. And then I was thinking about, of course, all the illegal aspects. How do I get into the drug trafficking market? How do I get into prostitution? You know, apparently some other female gang handles all the prostitution in the area. What do I do about that? Blah, blah, blah. Arms dealing, you know, that's way down the line. But what do I do about that? And so I was just in deep thought, and then so finally I came down. I started thinking about the sort of blackmail material. You know, I have these pictures of this public official and this prostitute, and I learned that the public official was the mayor of New York City. And I was like, huh, that's pretty big. In Shadowrun, like, the government has really no place. They're all figureheads just to appease the public, just slightly. You know, everything is just owned by corporations. And so the government, mayor, governor, you know, Supreme Court, president, it really just does not mean anything. But I think for Ziggy's sprawl here, it does mean a little bit. The corporations do not have complete, total control. It's like, oh, the mayor, huh? And so that's what I was in deep thought through the whole thing while they were doing Chinatown stuff, was like, okay, what do I blackmail this mayor into doing? You know, do I blackmail him for money? Do I blackmail him for a favor? What favor? You know, what is the best use of a blackmail favor at this time? Is it dealing with some sort of drug thing or the prostitution thing? Do I get him to help, you know, use the police force to help me take out some other gang, or look the other way in our section of the Bronx? Or I don't know. I was just wrapping my head constantly about this. And then I was like, okay, you know, what if I just release these materials as some sort of like freedom fighter, or, you know, whatever. And it was like, okay, well, you know, he'd probably be removed, or at the very least, he'd pretty assuredly lose the next election. And then that's, of course, when I had a spark of thought. And I thought, what if I was in the next election? And so that got the old brain moving. And I very simply announced a little bit later that I'm gonna run for mayor. Not just because I had this material and I think, okay, you know, I could maybe win, but more, if I do win, I could easily be the most corrupt criminal mayor in the history of mayors. And there's been some rough ones. I could top them all. Like an actual, just straight up criminal becoming mayor. A gang leader becoming mayor. Like, that's some criminal shit. I could deregulate everything, kickbacks all over the place, all the corporation's wants and needs I can provide. I can facilitate any sort of criminal activity from all these gangs. Oh my god. Like, just literally zero care for the public people of New York City. Just everything is money. And then, you know, New York City, of course, will go into the trash can very quickly, because we'll just be, like, deregulating all of their, like, toxic waste dump restrictions and pollution, and like, it's gonna be fucking rough. But once we get, you know, millions, we just disappear. We just ghost the city and head to Los Angeles. We all get facial reconstruction, we get new IDs, and we're just gone. Leave that city to burn while we count our cash. And so yeah, that's what started. So the rest of the session from that point was mostly just like discussing how to do this.
They couldn't have gone far.
And so, of course, if you're going to be a corrupt mayor, you have to run a corrupt election. And so, yeah, you know, there were a lot of comparisons made to a recent election. And, you know, I'm not going to get political here. You know, whether or not there was some foreign intervention in our election, which probably was. Whether or not there was, like, and whether or not how corrupt or whatever that election might have been, we're gonna put it to fucking shame. We're gonna run every dirty trick in the book. We're gonna work with a gang for them to, like, muscle out our competition, force people to vote, like, everything you can think of that they have laws about. And we're gonna probably, you know, break some new shit. We're gonna have bots running constantly all over the social media. You know, just everywhere.
It's horrible. They got people.
You won't be able to go to any website without hearing my name mentioned. Or, more importantly, you know, disparaging all of my competition. Yeah, just everything. Bribes, threats, murder, extortion, blackmail, just everything. We're gonna do it. It's gonna be fantastic.
Who's there?
And so it's just fun. I think it's just good. Like, it's just cyberpunk, man. It's so good. Anything can happen.
Hauling them off to the old lumber mill.
Like, I did not go into that session assuming I was going to be running a mayoral, you know, campaign or anything like that. It's just that thing. These things happen.
And they're shooting.
And I think it's great because, like, we're gonna remember this one. We're gonna remember this campaign. You know, if it was just like, oh, we're low-level criminals and we all died in some sort of explosion, fighting some other gang or something like that, like, okay, you know, that's like, oh, that was our second Sprawl campaign or whatever. But no, now we're gonna be able to say, hey, remember the mayor campaign? Like, that was legendary. I hope. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into the nitty-gritty of it. Anyways, so the first thing, I know we're near, I'll stop, I'll talk. The first thing that I wanted to do to lock down was, well, the thing was I was going to use the cyberware voucher for reconstructive surgery for myself. So I was going to get a new face, so I wouldn't be able to, you know, tracked back to any Florida crimes that I did. Or any other crimes. But then the thing was, I want to get, you know, the most powerful gang in New York City or in the region, conceivably, that I could get to help me out to win this campaign. You know, some sort of mutual beneficial relationship where, you know, they help me win the campaign. Once I'm mayor, like, I'll do whatever I can to help you guys out become big, you know, and two-way street and all that kind of stuff. And so pretty much the biggest gang around was the Yankees, or whatever, you know, whatever they're called. The one that Phil was doing street races for. And so basically we learned from some little informant guy that the thing they really want, but they can't get, is this, like, Babe Ruth autographed baseball bat. It's like this super collector item, especially, you know, for the Yankees, whether they're the gang or whatever. It's a super collector's item, and apparently they used to have it or something like that. And now this like vice president of, or not the vice president, the assistant manager or I don't know, whatever. Assistant, whatever. Some bigwig corporate guy has it. He lives in a high-rise apartment downtown Manhattan. So this is like, you know, as good as apartment security can possibly get, you know? Like, this is a secure building, and he lives in a secure part of it. So, and it's in a very secure city. So, it's tricky. And we, you know, he brought this up to us, and I was sitting there for like 10 minutes at the session, just like, I have no idea. I have no fucking clue. And they were spitballing ideas like, oh, let's kidnap him. You know, we'll kidnap him and we'll force him to get us into his apartment and we can take the bat. And it's like, that's a terrible idea. Kidnapping him in, you know, a corporate, like, I don't know the word for it. Not drone. He's not a corporate drone. That's the thing. He's like a bigwig. He's like a corporate bigwig. And you want to kidnap him in the middle of, like, the most secure city in the United States. Because that's, like, he took that from Shadowrun. I told him all about it. Like, Manhattan in Shadowrun is, like, it is the most secure city in like, the U.S. And so they have all these different, like, badges just to get into the city. You have to have like certain clearance, and it's completely corporate, completely just locked down. You want to just kidnap this guy in like a parking garage? Like, this guy is not driving his own car. He's probably taking, he's got a chauffeur or something like that. There's just no. He's never not gonna have somebody watching him, whether it's a cameras or multiple cameras or other people. Like, it's just no. And so I was just like, okay, well, we're not doing this tonight because I cannot think of anything. I need a week to think about it. And so that night, I could not sleep because I was just constantly thinking over like every possible scenario in my head of how do we get this back? Because like, he's going to have biometrics. There's going to be cameras everywhere. Getting into the camera room in that place is going to be just ridiculous. Like and we need to get into his apartment. That's where the bat is. Like, that is going to be such a lockdown building. I have no idea. This is out of our league, out of our pay grade, out of our skill range. Like, it's just, ugh. And I almost was like, it's not possible. I cannot think of a plausible plan for this. We might just have to go with something else. Like, he stumped me. But he didn't. I had an epiphany. Now, I'm not saying this plan is perfect. And there are many things that could go wrong with this. It could easily be foiled if a DM was looking to just fuck this up. But of what I thought this was the most plausible plan. And, of course, there's always a better plan, I know. And nothing ever goes according to plan. But I thought of it, and I'm happy with it. The plan that I thought of, I'll tell you. We have a van. We have just like a plain white van or something like that. Brown van, I don't know. We paint it. We get it painted. Oh, that was the other thing. There was like a real time restriction because the election is in 2 months and nobody knows my name. So I need to start my campaign now to get elected in 2 months. And I need to get this gang on our side and they want us to steal this bat. So I need to do this like tomorrow. I need to do this in like 2 days so we can get the ball rolling. Because I can't get my face reconstructed until after I do this crime. And I can't start my campaign until I get my face reconstructed. So, yeah, the time limit on top of it is just like, fuck. Okay, so we take the van, we get it painted to look like a New York City ambulance. A Manhattan ambulance. We get a siren and we put it on top, blah, blah, blah. We make it look like an ambulance. All right? We get some paramedic outfits and a fireman's outfit. And we get some, medical bags or whatever like that. And we give the fireman, probably going to be Thomas, like a breaching tool. Like a pneumatic breaching tool that a fireman would use to get into a locked building or something like that. All right. So we got 2 of us dressed as paramedics. 1 of us dressed as a fireman. We got this ambulance. We get some fake badges, like clearance things for Manhattan that says, like orange badges, the cheapest ones that says, you come into Manhattan to work in the city. And so those are the cheapest. We should be able to get those. So, we have the painted ambulance. We have the siren, blah, blah, blah. We're dressed up. But when we go into the city, we're not going in an ambulance because that would be completely implausible. Like, why would a Manhattan ambulance be out of Manhattan? It just wouldn't make sense. So I'm hoping we can get some sort of like giant sticker or, more like multiple stickers to like make it look like just a plain white van. And we don't have the siren on. We remove that. And then once we're in Manhattan, we can just peel off the stickers and put the siren back on. Then we wait till like midnight or so. We put on the siren. We drive over to this high-rise apartment building. We park right in front of it. We all bust out of there. 2 paramedics and a fireman. We rush in the front door and we go up to like the front desk and rushing. And we're like, where are the elevators? Like, where are they? And, she'll probably be too stunned or anything to say anything. But either way, we'll be able to see where the elevators are, I assume. We're like, never mind. And we rush over the elevators. Now, again, there's so much that could go wrong because I really have no idea the security of this building. Like, these elevators could be like thumbprinted, like thumb pad locked, or they have their own, who knows what systems they have. You have to swipe your own card before you can access them. But there has to be stairs. Like, there has to be a way for us to get up there. The element of surprise here and our speed is really key. So anyways, hopefully we get up to his floor, we find his door, and ideally, there's no security guard with us, but there might be, because there's probably going to be a bunch of them. So one of them or two of them, whatever, might follow us. Either way, it shouldn't affect the plan too much. But we get to his door, and I knock on it real loud, and I'm like, "Sir, if you can respond, please open the door." And we wait 10 seconds. He's probably sleeping, right? So we wait for him to groggily get up and go over to the door to look through the peephole or something like that. And that's when I'll say, because there's going to be cameras on us, of course, but they can hear me shouting, but they won't be able to hear him on the other side of the door. So he'll be like, "What the fuck is going on?" But the cameras won't hear that. And the cameras are key because we need to get away. So they need to think "Oh my God, this is a serious situation." Not, "Oh, they're trying to break in. These are criminals." We don't want a SWAT team called on us or anything. So anyways, once he's at the door, on the other side of the door, I'll shout "He's not responding, breach it." And then we have Thomas take the breaching tool and just smash the door in, which hopefully knocks the guy out on the other side. Or significantly dazes him at the very least, and he's on the ground. Now, we rush in. If there are security guards with us, that's when we kill them. Thomas takes him out somehow with a machete or who knows. We can't fire a gun. No guns, so I'm going to have to make sure he knows that. No guns, just machete him. Again, if there's no security guards, it's perfect. So then we... somebody, probably Thomas, finds the baseball bat in there, puts it in one of the medical bags, while we load him onto a stretcher. I forgot about the stretcher. We have to have a stretcher there as well. It adds to the authenticity, and we are going to put him on the stretcher and take him with us, because otherwise the camera's going to be like, "Wait, what the fuck's going on?" So we're wheeling him out on the stretcher. We've got the baseball bat in one of the bags. There might be a couple security guards dead in the room. But that really likely won't be discovered until we're gone. We'll close the door behind us, or try to close the door behind us. We stretch it, we wheel him into the elevator, we go back down, we rush him over to the ambulance, load him into the ambulance, and we drive off. We get back across the bridge out of Manhattan. I'm assuming, they're not really going to care as much for those people leaving Manhattan. I don't think they check badges for that. I think it's just people coming in. So I'm assuming we can just drive out of Manhattan. And then we drop off this guy somewhere in the Bronx. Who cares? Take his money or whatever and dump him off. We don't really need to kill him. That seems a little cruel. And boom, we're done. We've got the bat. And, I'm going to have my face reconstructed. The others, they'll just lie low for a while or something. And that's that. Like I said, there's so much that can go wrong with that, and I know that. But I'm hoping just the rule of cool kicks in, and it's something for us to attempt. It's literally the best plan that I can think of that has the highest chance of success. I'm sure it won't go as well as I just told you, but that's the nature of it. I think it'll be cool either way. Alright, we've already gone over an hour. What did I want to talk about? Movie did I see? Oh, Pacific Rim. I saw Pacific Rim Uprising. I'm a huge fan of John Boyega, so I like pretty much anything he's in. But apparently none of my friends are huge fans of him. But anyways, it's not really a whole lot to say. Basically, if you liked the first one, you'll probably like the second one. If you didn't like the first one, there is really nothing here to change your mind. Practically nothing. I mean, it's still big robots fighting big kaiju and there's a bunch of like dialogue interspersed to pad out the film. That's pretty much what it is. I liked it. I probably liked it better than Tomb Raider, but it's probably not quite as good as the first one. The last thing I want to talk about real quick is Roseanne. Roseanne had its revival, season 10, I guess. Of course, I watched it. They had 2 episodes this week on Tuesday for their big opener. Roseanne is definitely one of my favorite shows of all time. I grew up on it. I've seen every episode countless times. So yeah, I was definitely excited for the revival. And when I first started the new first episode, it just brought a smile to my face because these are characters and actors and stuff that I grew up with, and so to see them back at it, getting into these familiar grooves once again, it just makes me happy. And yeah, there were definitely some laughs to be had in the first couple episodes. So I'm very excited for the rest of the season. I think John Goodman is still fucking John Goodman. Like that has not changed, and he's the best part of the show, and he's still the best part of the show, so that's great. Roseanne is still pretty much the same, not the best part of the show, but still an integral part. Jackie is still, Laurie Metcalf is an incredible actress. Whatever the word I'm looking for, under, I don't know. You know what I'm saying. But it's strange to see like every character old and like with wrinkles and stuff like that. And that was even brought up in the second episode, I think, where it's like Lacey Goranson plays Becky. Is 43 years old. It's just like, what the fuck? Now, when I was a kid watching this, like, the show was already a little old. Like, it was not like a fresh new thing. The first season and stuff like that, that was already pretty old when I started watching it. And so it's like, yeah, I know. It's an old show, but oh man, it's crazy. I think they got way too political in the first episode. And I know what they're trying to do. It's like that sort of political discourse between families is absolutely a thing that happens. It has been happening. In my own family, like that shit is what's happening. That doesn't really mean I want to see it on TV though. Like I get enough of it. I don't want to hear about that, especially because it was not very funny. Aunt Jackie being like this super Hillary fan wearing some nasty woman shirt, and it's like, I don't even know if people like this exist, and it's just like, this is not. It just seemed like what a Trump fan imagines the other side to be like, and I don't know. It went on. There was too much of it in the first episode, and I didn't care for it. Because it just never seemed like that. Just didn't seem what Roseanne was about. It never got political before. And like I said, I know that's kind of like she's trying to be genuine and real, and this is kind of what that's like. But and the same thing with her having like a black grandchild and like an effeminate grandchild. It's like, okay, maybe you could get away with one, and that's like, all right, that's plausible. Like that could kind of happen. Sure, like there are families, sure, but having both in the same family, the odds of this are just ridiculous. I'm not being like prejudiced. I'm just talking statistics. It's just ridiculous, and like that's what I always liked about Roseanne. It felt genuine. It felt real. Like this is what a poor family, hardworking, like blue-collar family in a small town in Illinois would be like. You know, the parents were weird. Certainly, they were, you know, sort of hippies, and the kids seemed to have like real issues, and episodes were about like, you know, just real situations. You know, they went to a bowling alley, and you know, Roseanne embarrassed Becky in front of a guy she liked. Like that's just, these are real things, and it felt real for many seasons, and then of course it got more and more ridiculous. But now it just seems like they just wanted to slam into you with the ridiculousness, and it's just a bit too much. Obviously, you know, I'm still really excited about the show because, again, you've got John Goodman, Laurie Metcalf, and Roseanne in there, and there's going to be good times. I know that. But it just concerns me, the plot points and things like that, the setting and themes that they're trying to go in with. It just seems a little much for Roseanne, for what the show was. Like, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I know I talk more about Roseanne than Pacific Rim, but that's a show that's very, very near and dear to my heart. So, and you know, it's on its 10th season. So, all right. I guess that's about it. So check out. If you haven't already, check out the Cthulhu Mythos and Teletubbies. Check out the Children of Loki on Monday. We've got more Far Cry 5 coming. Some more Final Fantasy 7. And at some point, SWAT 4. But my name is Mangg. Game watching has been... No, not game... Well, game you have been watching has been Far Cry 5. But this has been Hanging with Mangg. Sorry, I've been recording a lot. This has been Hanging with Mangg, and I'll see you fine folks next week.